it didn't seem to cross anybody's mind, but I was 8 months pregnant in steel toe boots on a construction site, and it was very draining. I think until you experience pregnancy, you don't realize how tiring it is.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of DC and Me. So essentially we're going to be talking about going back to work after having a child. So Hana, obviously as a parent who's gone through this recently, really keen to hear your perspective on this.
Hi everyone. So parenting versus careers and the effect of the pressure that no one really talks about. I'm going to start today by giving some really interesting stats that I read quite recently, and I found them quite shocking. So Bright Horizons did a survey for modern families, and they found that their 2025 report stated that a third of parents and carers reported very high stress, with 31%, so a third basically, of drop of support from employers for parents. They also found, slightly unsurprisingly, that there was a much higher stress level on women over men, but 35% of working parents considered leaving their job within the next year. And women's salary, which was the most shocking, dropped by 42% within 5 years of having a child.
Wow.
So I found that really quite shocking, actually,
Yeah.
quite interesting, especially as I have a 17-month-old at home. I was co-chair of JLL's EMEA Women's Business Network for several years before I went on maternity leave, and also sat on Women Leaders UK's board. And I always talked about the impact of having a baby, but it's easy to talk about, I think, when you don't have a child of your own and you kind of have some empathy. But quite honestly, going through the process myself was pretty painful, actually, and quite challenging. And so it was the most incredible experience. Baby James, if you're listening, Mama loves you. But you know, it was an interesting experience in some of the career and the professional environment and some of the impact that it had on me. And whilst being on maternity leave, Margot, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
Margot and I went through the same journey around the same time. So I think you were an incredible support for me personally. But I think we've got plenty to talk about on this topic today, including some of that stats. So thanks for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me. I'm always happy to talk about that. I think it's an important matter to discuss, especially in this industry where it's clearly not discussed enough. So
Exactly. So tell us about you.
yeah, so I said I won't start with my job. So my name is Margot Weistroffer. I am originally French, but now also British. So moved to the UK 11 years ago, and now I'm a mom of a little girl, Adele. I love you too. Shout out.
Keep it
She's
bright.
almost 2. And for work, I'm a business development manager in the power generation industry. So providing backup power for data centers and mission critical buildings. But my background is in mechanical engineering, so I've always been interested into technical side of the industry as well. And I'm a STEM ambassador, so I go into schools to try and attract younger generation to go into those opportunity roles and technical roles, mainly girls as well. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Amazing. And you'll notice that although I mentioned the statistic around women feeling the pressure, actually we specifically made a point of saying parents, because, you know, I do think that you told me this morning that your organisation Strativ gives 6 months paternity leave. So it's exactly the same for women as it is for men. I work for JLL. It's one of the best things for me. I find it amazing is that we give the exact same maternity leave and paternity leave for both parents as well. But not everybody has that experience and has that access. How was your experience in that particular space?
I would say that the company I worked for at the time was great. They had a good maternity policy. Paternity was not there yet, but it's catching up, hopefully. I would say the struggle came from probably managers and leadership that did not have experience with someone in a male-dominated industry to go on maternity leave. and to realize what support they need to provide for those people coming back into work, and also to not forget them. We're still here, we're still employees. Please keep us updated of what's going on. That's what I found the most difficult, is that coming back, I was so worried to not be able to come back to the job I had and be able to perform the way I had. So that's why I kept on trying to say, listen, if there's anything going on important, just send me an email. It's okay. I'm checking in. I did my keeping in touch days. I'm sure you did as well, which I thought were quite important. But I would say it's important for companies to educate leadership and managers into what it entails to go on maternity leave and paternity leave as well. Like you mentioned, there's some companies that fathers or partners can take up to 6 months, which is great. And I've seen some companies in the construction industry as well coming into that, so that's good as well, because it's usually not such a great paternity leave, let's say. So yeah, I would say keep parents included in what's going on in the business if they want to. Some people would just want to disconnect completely, but for me, I had this need that I was really worried to come back into work and feeling like I've let the business down, which is a silly thing to think, but yeah.
It's really interesting because I had the exact same feeling.
Yeah.
And when I originally was coming back from maternity leave, I posted on my social media on LinkedIn about my return.
Yeah.
And the response that I had from parents, men and women, really giving their feedback, it was very, very similar,
Yeah.
which was, we've got corporates are putting in processes, which is amazing. It's attracting talent. It's helping, retain talent.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. But I'm not entirely sure that culture has caught up with corporate policy. So just because a policy is in place doesn't actually mean that policy automatically removes the challenges that somebody, or the feelings that somebody might have. And I think, again, tech is amazing in some sense because it allows us to connect, it allows us to work remotely. From a parenting point of view. Yeah. The fact that I have the flexibility to work from home as well as go to the office, I have that choice, makes me, be able to find that balance to a certain extent. Did you find that as well? What experience did you have from a culture versus policy?
As mentioned, I think my previous role was very technical, so I was on construction site a lot, and it didn't seem to cross anybody's mind, but I was 8 months pregnant in steel toe boots on a construction site, and it was very draining. I think until you experience pregnancy, you don't realize how tiring it is. Yeah. And I think it's great. Obviously, like you said, you get this policy saying, yes, health and safety when you're pregnant, but in reality, and you know it, in data centers, it never stops. So you really have to continue, and I try to do what I don't know. I'm going to say it. I had guilt going on maternity leave because I think that's what a lot of women feel that if they have a career.
Yeah.
And I don't want to disappoint. And now looking back, after knowing what I've gone through in terms of how difficult it was on my health as well, I would advocate for myself more. But being a first-time parent and a first-time mom, it's hard to say those things, especially when you're the only woman in the team. You don't want to be you're going on maternity leave. Well, there's no point including you in those things, or feeling like you're being left out because you're having a child. Yeah. So for me that was a big thing.
So how has that learning influenced you now? Now you're back. You've been back for a while.
Yeah. So I think that's what I wanted to say. Like now, I would definitely advocate for myself more. There's a term in French, and I think I actually Googled it before coming here, and it's coming to the UK. It's called matrescence. It's basically the birth of a mother. So it's how you change as a person when you become a mother. And I saw that in the UK, they're starting to talk about it and want to add it on the dictionary, because it's basically, how it makes you change. It did to me. I'm sure some women it's different, but to me, it rewired my brain, obviously. It changed my priorities in life. And it made me more conscious of my time and energy, which is low at the minute because I'm not sleeping very well.
Margot walked in and said, I haven't slept all night. So
You're doing great so far.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, Hannah, I haven't slept. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't slept in 2 years. You haven't slept in 3.
So that's something as well. We can talk about this, the unspoken thing that you literally have to show up even if you've slept 2 hours at night. Anyway, so it made me more conscious of how I want to spend my time and prioritize the action that will have the most impact in my work and in my life. And sometimes if this task is only going to just is a good to have or a good to be done thing, you know what? I can leave it. It's fine. It doesn't warrant me losing a day of work for this thing and a day with my family as well. I think that's what it is. There's a perception that when mothers come back to work, they lack ambition. And I don't think that is the case. I think it is a perception. And I would say mothers and fathers, well, coming back as well, probably choose quality over quantity. That's how I would say. That's how I see myself now. And yeah, that's what I would.
It's really interesting because like you've got nieces and nephews, haven't you?
A lot, yeah.
A lot. The fun uncle over here. And we were talking this morning, Nick and I, and I was you know, for quite a while. I wasn't sure I was ever going to have children. And you and I talked about this before. Margot said the same thing. So I would kind of swan in toys. Here are drums and sweets, which I now regret because paybacks. There we are.
First one,
blooper reel, but you know, payback. And so now, and I think I felt like I knew how challenging it was, and then when you actually live through it yourself, you suddenly, you know, have to find the balance, and it makes you so much more efficient and more effective. But yeah, I had a royal shock. And so I think I was empathetic as a leader before, but it's only really having lived through it that I'm feeling the pain. But that said, just because somebody isn't a parent, going back to saying about being uncle, I think that helps people if they're family orientated, if they've got people around them. So it's not saying, we're not saying that everybody is in the same way, but from a sector point of view and from a data center perspective, I do think that there's a lot of work to be done. And just generally, I think as a people, we automatically, I felt personally, and I don't know if you're the same, but I felt like when people saw I was pregnant, they then were like, she's going to go on maternity leave now. So let's just have the conversation with her cover, or let's have a conversation with somebody else. But I was like, hello, I'm still here. Brain's still working. You know, whilst my son kicked the crap out of me. I remember being in a meeting and getting another one. That's two in one. You know, while my son kicked me in the ribs while I'm doing an introduction to a client. But most of the time I was like you. I actually eventually got banned from flying by my doctor because I was flying here, there and everywhere to different sites just trying to get deals closed because I felt this enormous need. And it's it didn't come from anybody else. It came from me. It comes from
inside, yeah, because that's, I mean, before having a baby, you're very similar. So my career was my thing. That's what I wanted to work on. That's what I spend time. That's what I try to progress. And I know you're similar in that. So then you had to undo this new little thing.
Yeah.
That takes over your whole life, and you have to juggle with both. And
they don't stick to a schedule either. It's quite annoying at times when you think I'm gonna do some things. The LEAP initiative.
Yeah, exactly.
In my head, I was going to run the LEAP while being on maternity leave, and I really tried my damnedest, but I had to force myself to put it on hold. Yeah. It was really hard. But you know, I don't know why. It was really naive and a bit arrogant, a bit ignorant to think that I could really work. A bit like you said about switching on, the reality of it was that you just couldn't.
No, you can't. It's well, someone do and fair play, because I don't know
How they do it.
It's just insane. Like when I see founders that do calls on the baby naps, and I'm like, hands up, fair play. But yeah, I think there's no right balance really. I think some weeks, some month, you're going to be 100% on your career. Maybe your time at home will have to take a step back, and luckily we have partners that are here for us as well and helping us at home. And sometimes when your kid is sick, when something happens, then this has to take over and you take a step back at work. And that's where the culture of work as well is very important, is that companies also need to be flexible on that, because I am not sure, I was going to look it up and I forgot, but I'm not sure in the UK there is a sick child policy from the government, because what do you do if some companies don't have that in place?
I think we've also talked a lot about babies, because we've got young children, but parenting responsibility doesn't disappear. As soon as they hit a certain age. Bank of mum and dad, exactly. Yeah, where do you live across the road from your mum, don't you?
Well, not across the road. Not having that in the public domain. Close. Close to my mum.
Mum, I need washing day. I tell you, I'm going to be a smother, so I'm like, son, you're not moving far. Poor child. But the responsibility doesn't suddenly disappear. And so parenting is, exactly as you said, there's different phases in life for people. But it makes me really sad to read the statistic that we've got 35% of working parents have basically said that they considered leaving their job within the next 12 months. That's crazy.
I know, and we keep on, especially in our industry, we keep on talking about we need more talents, we need more people. But we need to make it attractive to parents. It's very difficult, and like you said, school starts at 8:30, finish at 3:30. How do you do it? How do you cope with that with a full-time job? And then the holidays. So it's not data center specific, obviously. It's all, it's all across other.
But I guess for data centers and in parts of our industry like FM and like construction, they're very much roles that require an element of presence. And so it's really, really important that there is a pause and an understanding of the person in front of you and what they're living and what their life currently looks like. And so by understanding them, then you can facilitate and support them as a leader. Yeah. And I think there's definitely a cultural shift that's needed in that space. My personal perception is I actually had the most amazing experience with my work colleagues. They were so incredibly supportive around me. And, it was me. It was a lot of the challenges that came from being a parent and becoming a parent were for me. But now I've learned on a very personal level that we don't need to be perfect. No. So it's not about perfection. It's about, at times, just getting through on no sleep and just surviving, let's not pretend. But also it's about being just honest. Yeah. I've had calls where I have literally just told them, I'm really sorry, I'm sleep deprived. Yeah. And it's not making me incompetent. I've done my preparation, I know what I'm doing. It's just being super, super honest with the right audience and in the right space. Yeah. And then I've had meetings where I've been traveling, I've been on the road for a few days. I've come back and my toddler is stuck to me like glue and there's just nothing I can do. So I've just had to take a meeting with a toddler just hugging his mum.
And that's a couple of times.
You've had that before. And that's just being able to bring your whole self to work. It's easy for us to just say to people, don't feel guilty. It's not, I think it's about policies, it's about process, it's about culture surrounding people and giving them that level of help and support.
Yeah, definitely. And we're lucky that we have companies that are quite flexible with our workplace and things like that as well. So I think this is also important for companies to think about. Is we keep on hearing bringing people back into the office, but that's very anti-parents. There's no other way about it. Like,
come back to work 5 days a week.
People working from home are not working or things like that. We hear that a lot from politics at the minute. So Yeah, that's a very anti-parent policy to force people back into the office. That's time in traffic that they could be spending with their child or children, and taking them out of the house and removing that flexibility. So
it's give and take.
Do you think it's amplified as well, though, particularly in the data center space, with not the pressure, but like I can imagine even when I've had like a short stint out, if I've had like a month off before, like for a holiday, and you're thinking, I've almost done number 3 swear word then, but like
please do take away from mine.
But I was like thinking, you're thinking what's changed, and because this market is mental for change.
Yes.
So to have the time off that you guys would have had with your children, you'd think like, there's that. I mean, the guilt piece it makes me feel that's sad that's the case. But then to think also coming back, it's like it's going to be probably a completely different landscape that I'm coming back to in this market, because it's changing all the time.
I know.
Like, how did you both find that, and like coming back?
I left. The biggest project was 50 megawatt. I came back, it's 300. What's going on?
I was going to say,
what happened?
I was the same. I left and we were talking 30 to 50 megawatts, and then I came back and it was like a 2 gigawatt discussion, and it was 2 kilometers, and it was like, oh my goodness.
There must be a typo.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what did I miss?
I know.
But actually, very, very quickly into returning, I realised I was genuinely nervous, and I came back. I was really confident before I went. I was like, I'll be able to cope. Yeah, I'm going to run the Leap Initiative while I'm away. We're going to do all these different things, and then it had a real shock. But what it also did for me personally, and I'm back into the swing of things. I kind of feel like I never left, and my life it's just a new norm. We're humans. We cope. We get on with things. But the lessons I learned was actually to just become more efficient with my time, become more effective with my prioritization, and then really, my perception of my whole life has changed over the last 12 months and 2 years. So for me, it was, my priorities are slightly different. It's not a bad thing. I'm still doing my job really, really well, but actually it's given me a new energy. The fact that we're here doing this podcast says it all. For me, it's given a new energy to bring in perspective, to bring in talent, to bring in variety, but also to give people more opportunities. So that empathy, I think, as well, that's come with
definitely,
it too.
Yeah, especially it's also creating a good role model for your children, to show that you are committed, you are hardworking, and things like that. And if they want to do it, they can do it. And it's nice. I think it's good for them to see this commitment as well. It's also, obviously, I wanted to go back to work. It sounds the question, but we need to also think that the other parents is also quite important in those decisions and this support. It's not just the mom, as we've discussed. It's the whole village, like we say, and it's hard when you're also coming from another country and you don't have your village around you. Luckily, I have my partner's family. That's very good with that. But it's also try and rely on them as much as possible. That was hard for me. That was really hard for me to accept the help. I'm very independent and focused, and accepting the help was, as soon as I realized that accepting the help would just genuinely change my life, I felt much better.
And I think that comes in work as well.
Yeah,
not just in your personal life. For me, I didn't have personally help available in any form really. So, but what it taught me was professionally, I don't have to do everything myself. And it's something in my career journey I've had to really work on already. But actually, from becoming a parent taught me, going back to the efficiency piece, the productivity piece, it was like, actually, parenting teaches you to let go of some of that control. And I'm a I'm a program manager by trade. I like things to be organized and scheduled. And, pre-baby, my wardrobe, it was like almost OCD. It was like colored and perfect. And now it's like, actually, you just let go of control. It's okay to have a bit of mess. It's okay to have a bit of chaos. But actually in that ability to pause and reflect, what it can do is bring out some really interesting change and some interesting problem solving skills as well. So I think definitely less people are having less children in general, and I think again corporates have a major responsibility to take the time to understand people's, home personal situations, but also give them the freedom and the space to bring their whole self to work. And for parents, that's giving them that flexibility and that right support and that understanding, and hopefully making, getting rid of some of that guilt. Because not all of that's, the reason it's ingrained in us is because there is a societal aspect of that, and we've talked about social media before, but social media really doesn't sometimes help those as well. As we see the whole world continues to move on, how on earth am I going to walk back into that? And
I think that's what I wanted to say as well, is you see going back to work as this absolute mountain you will not be able to climb. For me, it was the first couple of weeks, I just was so taken aback. I'm like, there's no way I will be able to do that. There's no way. And after 2 weeks, you start getting back. It's like riding a bike. You just get back into it. And I'm actually pretty good at this. That's fine.
I'm going to not swear again, but it is basically same stuff, different year. And it does.
Very PG way.
There you go. See, I didn't swear. Not number 3 from me yet. So, you do get to a point where you just realise, actually, we're fine. But what I'm doing is I've just learnt some new skills, and now I'm going to find a way to apply those skills into my work environment so that I can bring more to the table. And so I think, diversity is all about diversity of thought and diversity of experiences. That's where we bring, that's where we evolve as an industry and a sector, and that's where we really bring change to an industry that is already evolving and is constantly growing and changing. So,
I feel like the vulnerability piece is that is huge as well from leadership. Obviously, you're both progressing your career, both leading individuals, and it's sometimes I would say when you are a leader, I definitely struggle with this. It's like when you have people in your team, you don't want them to be aware that you're tired. This is how I've historically felt. So I don't want to say I've had a really said the swear word night's sleep, or something's gone on at home, or whatever it may be. And it's almost like it gives you that sort of vulnerability to just say.
I was going to say, why is that?
I don't know really. I think it's something that changed. I think we spoke about it on another episode about sort of being a bit more comfortable in stuff that you're uncomfortable in. Like when I was obviously going to therapy, and I did that, and I was like, well, if people are judging me from this, I'm keeping my side of the street clean. I'm being my honest self. If they're going to judge me from being tired, then that's a bit weird. We're all tired. So it changed from there to be like, look, I've been a lot more honest with people, and then you get it in return. So it's like the vulnerability to be like you said, right? Having bring a child onto the camera saying, look, I'm exhausted or whatever. I think you get a lot more from the people around you then. Because
my brand is going to be this constantly tired parent holding a toddler in work. That's like 0.01%. But you're right. I think it's about, the reality is that we all bring more than, I give everything I do, my all, my absolute all. And we put, if I've had a bad day in the daytime for some particular reason, then, the work doesn't go away. The workload is the workload. And so, you have a sick child, that work's not going away. That we still have to pick it up and do it. It's just you're putting the baby to bed and then you're on till quite late getting it done or whatever that is. But I think we need to, we need to have an environment of trust where we're hiring the right people to do the right job. We know them, we understand them, we empower them. And for me, I've been so fortunate in this space that I'm trusted. So I can just be trusted to get on and do my job. And guess what? Because I'm trusted and because I've been hired to do a certain role, I'll do my job and I'll do it well. And if there's an issue, if I'm struggling, I would say something. And I think that's where we need to get to a place where if you're hiring someone, you're hiring them because they're the right person to do that role.
Yeah.
If they then, regardless of, you understand them, you understand what makes them tick, you get to know them, you hire them to do a job because they have the skills and the knowledge to do that, and then you trust them, you empower them, you give them the tools to do that, and you let them get on with it, and you'll get the most out of people in that space. And, you know, that's where that support for parents absolutely is really, really imperative. Your child's sick, of course that's your top priority. That's why you're working. You know, we don't, you know, most people don't live to work. We work so we can have a life. And so, you know, if that's the case, give them the freedom, trust them, and they'll give you what you need.
Exactly. They'll reward you with being loyal employees, and if it's so easy, you know, sometimes I'm really confused with these. I'm like, just be nice to your employees. just be nice. I promise you'll get back what you're being nice to. Like, people will be loyal to you. They will push your brand, and they'll be happy to work for you, and they'll stay with you if you show them you actually care about their problems in life. But, it's really not that difficult.
and I mean, let's face it, most people don't come crying to you all day, every day anyway. I think like
it's a phase. There's up and down.
But also, just because you're a parent doesn't mean that suddenly you're riddled with issues that you're bringing to the world. The reality is you're just getting on with your job. You know, we carry on functioning as normal, and it's just once in a blue moon you might have a challenge, or it's standard, but yet it's
well, that's it really. Like,
because I think in this conversation we're at risk of painting a picture that actually new parents are constantly struggling, or don't want to come back to work, or crying, or the children are sick. The reality is that's just not the case at all.
It's very minimal, and that's exactly what I was going to add. Is I'd argue that with my new skills of a better time priority and being more impactful in my work, I am better than I was before my job. So I'd argue that actually
I'd say
juggling with a baby or whatever it can be, because there's also other stuff, made me better at my job, actually.
I think so. I think it's actually made me way more efficient, way more effective at my role than I've ever been before. And I think for us, it's like work. The other thing I do, I don't know if you're the same, is I compartmentalize to cope. So the way I do things, I compartmentalize things. So I bring myself to the table, but you know, I'm at work. I'm a parent, because you can't overly mix those things. And so that's kind of my way of coping. I don't know if you're the same as well.
Similar.
So
I try to just keep things separate. Otherwise, it gets a bit as much as I can.
As much as exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, no, I really appreciate the time, Margot. I think it's been like it's eye-opening, like for me especially, right? And I will be a parent soon, I imagine. But no, I completely agree. I think like the compartmentalising and like particularly about the delegation of tasks and the prioritising of tasks. I think it makes you so much more effective like in a role. So I really appreciate your honesty about this topic, and thanks for coming today.
No, thanks for having me. It's been a great discussion. Thank you.